A key attribute of a persuasive presentation must be to gain commitment from the customer, not just at the end of the presentation, but all throughout the presentation. A great technique for this is to plan in advance what you're going to present to the customer, starting off with your diagnosis of their needs and the corresponding part of your product or service that represents a solution to them, before you go on to the next area of need that you've identified and the next relevant product or service aspect of your solution. Now, if you're doing each of these step by step, at the end of each section, it's key to look at the customers who are meeting with you to say, now, John, based on what we've specifically discussed about the needs in your department, and some of the things you told me are affecting Jane and Steve in that department, what I've just outlined, to what extent will this make their life a lot easier? Because as we've talked about, it's going to save them an extra 10 hours a week, which they can repurpose for other means inside your department. What would that mean to you? And then you let him talk in front of his colleagues about what that means to him. Now, if you've done a good job of meeting with each of these stakeholders privately before the public official presentation, he'll be really primed to be able to do a good job in explaining that value, because he's heard it from you before, you've discussed it, you've agreed with it, now he's sharing his opinions in front of his peers. But even if you haven't had a chance to prepare them in advance for the final presentation, by personalizing your presentation, it allows them the opportunity to discuss each point of your solution in front of each other and discuss how that's going to be of benefit to them. So then you go down to the next topic and you say, right, one of the other things that you've disclosed to us is you're really interested in achieving this as an outcome. In fact, it's one of the highest ranking areas of the decision criteria that you're looking to be satisfied on. So what our solution is for that will be the ability to do the following things with these components and through this service and whatever it is that you're offering. And then you could pick on the person that you know that that's most relevant to, and you say, Susan, this is particularly relevant for you, isn't it? And Susan will say, well, yes, we need it for the following reasons. So based on what I've shown you, do you believe that what we can bring to the party is going to give you what you need? Or is there something else that we haven't satisfied with what I've just presented? And Susan might say in front of her peers, no, actually, it looks like a pretty good approach to me. And you say, that's excellent. And Steve, that satisfies you as well? Yes? So we're all on the same page? That's great, guys. Okay, let me continue. And so you break your presentation down so that all throughout the presentation you're taking pauses just to make sure that they're coming on the journey with you. And of course, if anybody's not, that's the best time to get that out in the open so you can process that objection rather than have it stay hidden and be a problem later on down the road. So don't just use your presentation as a chance to talk at the customer and then at the end say, are there any questions? Pause throughout. Make it a discussion. Make it an interactive presentation. It doesn't matter if you're meeting with one person or 20. Make it as interactive as possible and always pause to gain small commitments all the way through, because it's the small things that the customer agrees to that are important, because the more they each hear each other and themselves saying yes to you, the easier it will be at the end of the sale for them to all agree, well, who have we been saying yes to most of the time? It's this guy. Let's buy from them. And you know what? They probably will.